Hello, right. I'm so excited because this is pretty much one of my favourite verticals of all time, as you all probably know, and I've probably annoyed you about. But we have these three wonderful people with us together because they are the leading cast of The Quarterback Next Door. So I'm going to ask them to go around in turn and introduce both themselves and the character they play in Quarterback Next Door.
Awesome. I'll go first. Hi, everyone. My name is Cayla Brady. I play Skylar Heron in The Quarterback Next Door. I'll pass.
Hey everyone, my name is Vanessa Von Schwarz. I play Tiffany Ryland, your favorite villain.
Hey guys, my name's Chris Quartuccio, and I play Jamie Donner in The Quarterback Next Door.
Okay, so my first question for everyone is what was your first experience of verticals, as in how did you get into acting and how did that then lead you into verticals? And I'll just let you take that away.
Okay, I'll go. Well, so I have been acting in general in theater since I was young. I started when I was like 8 years old doing like the Three Little Pigs in third grade. And just kept going from there into like film and television as when I was 11 or 12. And then I moved to California, and started doing some projects, took a break, and then really was on a break all the way until last summer-ish when I started getting ads for vertical content on my phone, specifically for Breaking the Ice. I've talked about it. I'm not ashamed. I've watched the full thing. And it I was like, wow, this is actually super entertaining. And then a couple months after that, I got an audition from my agent, who I honestly hadn't even heard of or from in probably months at that point. And she randomly, when I was in Europe with my mom, got me an audition for something called The Quarterback Next Door. I filmed an audition tape in Paris, had a call back in Berlin, and then flew back and booked it. Okay, not bragging. But yeah, which is so funny though, because in one of the audition scenes, it's the one of my audition scenes was when Jamie and Skylar are talking through the window to each other in the beginning. And Jamie's character says something about like, my dad's in either Hong Kong or Berlin right now. And I was in Berlin when it was happening. So I was like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. I know. Yeah. So long-winded, that's how I got into these projects.
What about you, Vanessa?
Yeah, so I've been acting since 2019. I got out of high school and I knew it was what I wanted to jump into right away. I signed with a really great agency, and in 2023, after the strikes and COVID, I'd really been looking for a chance to just work as an actress. It was so hard to find work. And my agent sent me to a casting in person for a mobisode, and I never heard of anything like this before. Um, I asked a lot of my actor friends, and honestly, a lot of them were like, "I don't know if that's something you want to get into. Like, it's not, there was a lot of nobody knew much about it." So, I went to the casting, and I met Olivia Wang, the director, who was so sweet and incredible. And I did the callback, and they were amazing. They loved my performance, and they booked me for the job. And that was my first entrance into this world. It was a very small supporting character. I played like an inner wolf, but I was just amazed. As soon as I walked on the set, all the screens were vertical, and just everything was, it was nothing like a normal set, but at the same time, there was so much familiar with it. And yeah, it was an incredible experience. So yeah.
And what about you, Chris? What was your entry into the world of verticals?
To the world of verticals, I think I was reached out to on Instagram actually by a company called Surreal Plus. That was the first one I ever did, and then I jumped around to a bunch of others, and then started working with Real Short primarily. I'm signed with them uh, exclusively, so I'm only working with them, and they're really great. But I got into acting in general when I was in eighth grade. I did the school musical on a whim. I was last chair trumpet in band, and I wanted to quit and do G Flash music productions, which is like, you make beats and stuff. It wasn't like, and so I told my mom I want to quit band and do that. And she said, if you quit band, you have to do chorus. And I was like, okay, anything is better than being last chair trumpet. So then I did chorus, and then I met a kid named Gibby, and he did the musicals, and he convinced me to do it. And my mom was like, you should do it. And it was Grease. And I thought that was pretty cool. Wear leather jackets, it wasn't like I didn't think it would be like too silly or anything back then, but still took a lot of flack from my friends, as you can imagine. They're like, oh, he's doing the musical, Um, and then I fell in love with musicals, did musicals all through high school, was doing multiple at the same time at some points, like doing a play in the city and then doing something, um, then doing like Legally Blonde in high school. And then I moved out here 5 years ago and was taking film classes in New York City. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right. So Cayla's already answered this because obviously your first vertical was Quarterback Next Door. For Chris and Vanessa, how did you kind of come upon the script and end up getting cast?
Yeah, so I submitted on Backstage, and I got an audition, and I actually auditioned for the role of Skylar originally. And I got a call back, and they liked the tape, I guess, but then they came back and they asked me to play Tiffany, and I was so excited because this was one of my first bigger roles in this space. And I'd seen a lot of villains. I'd played them before, but not to this extent, and I was so excited. And once we got to meet the cast, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be magic.
So I got the Quarterback Next Door because I had done a couple other real short projects before that, and I don't remember auditioning for that one. I think they were just like they called me, and they were like, "Do you know anything about football?" And I don't. Um, and I was like, "Yeah, I know football. I watch the Super Bowl, you know." And because I'm a swimmer, I surf and snowboard, skateboard. Throwing balls is not really my expertise, but we made it happen.
I need you to play the clip of the big football game in this one.
My favorite thing, if you want to just, I'm skipping a question, but my favorite scene of all time is the football scene when I'm throwing the football and it's like the big game, and then it just shows that there's no one in the audience. It just cuts to the stands and it's empty. That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing.
Rewatching that, and I was like, "There's Skylar, Addie. That's kind of it," and then just a suite of empty seats.
Small school.
What's really funny about that scene too with the audience is that it was me, Addie, and then there was another girl with us in that scene, and that girl was actually like Macy was supposed to be there, but they forgot to call her that day. So they used like an extra, and we're like, "Okay, you have lines now. Like this is your this is your character." It was such a funny moment because I was like somewhat used to like being on, I mean, I haven't been on like a lot of projects, like big budget film and television ones, but like the ones that I have been, like they would have filled the stands for sure, And I like remember even like the football game scene was supposed to take place at night. So it's just like it was little things like that with like that was very interesting about
You
it.
have to suspend disbelief for a little bit. And just
For sure. Yeah. It's happening so fast too that like a lot of people probably missed it anyway, but yeah.
We're watching every little part and noticing things.
Exactly.
Especially when you watch your own performance. I hate to do it, but if you watch it with someone and you're like, "Oh no, this, that," you see that thing I did, and people are like, "Oh, I wasn't looking at that."
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Or they'll notice something you did, and they're like, "Oh, that was bad." I was like, "Oh, I didn't think that was bad." So
So I really want to ask you about Tiffany because I think she is one of the iconic villains. And the first thing I want to ask you about is the clapback.
Which one?
So first thing actually I like is actually when you initially target Skylar, you have seen your boyfriend's photo on her phone. And I'm like, there's kind of like a reason there, because sometimes it's like it comes out of nowhere, and it's like that is kind of, I could see why she'd be annoyed. But then obviously she's on the ground, and then you just do this do when you're talking to her. Where did that come from? Because it is iconic, and that was when it okay, a new queen has arrived of villains.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I think I was just trying to show a lot of power in that and just kind of dominate the scene. And the director Nani, she told me that the character she imagined it a lot like Maddie Perez from Euphoria. So very loud and very I just imagined her like she speaks with her body and she speaks with like the way she raises her voice and everything. So I wanted to bring that dominance into it, and that was a fun thing to throw in. So that was awesome.
See, we don't really get much backstory for Tiffany. Do you kind of, when you're playing that role, do you try and fill it in and kind of work out where she's coming from and kind of what her story is?
Yeah, I do absolutely. I think for her, a lot of it was, she's like a rich girl, and her daddy takes care of everything for her. So I think for me, it was a lot of her just feeling isolated and wanting validation from people, wanting to be loved. And I think that's where a lot of her anger comes from, also her frustration, because she doesn't understand why it's so hard for her to receive love or give love genuinely. And I think that adds a lot to how you play the character as well.
And I want to ask the same question for Cayla and Chris, just kind of what you filled in for your characters. Because, I mean, I think it does stand out in this one compared to other verticals. There is a bit more there. We understand a little bit about Jamie and that, there's not any parents there. Dad's off in Hong Kong. And there's a really good scene where it's just clear that Dad's not even going to turn up for the game. Just what your impressions were of the character.
Okay. Yeah, I think that Skylar and Jamie relate well to each other because they both have problems at home. I remember Skylar's dad is not in the picture. My dad is not really in the picture. They never. I don't. Oh no, my mom passed away. And um, I don't know. I tried to think that Jamie maybe wasn't always the coolest guy, you know. That he was maybe like, is that they were friends back in the day. So my thought process was they were probably, maybe like he ended up doing football, which made him popular, right? But at heart, he's still like the sweet, nice guy who she's friends with. And he's about like trying to bring people up and, because he knows how it feels to get bullied himself, you know. Um, that's what I thought throughout the script, and that they're friends mainly, and that's what's nice because they started off as friends and it grows into a relationship. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, similarly, I think a lot of inspo for me was just the knowledge that Skylar and Jamie have had a very long friendship. And I was just sort of picturing them when they were young, almost like, and maybe this is just because I've been watching The Summer I Turned Pretty a lot, but it's almost like of that sort of like envisioning that sort of lifestyle growing up. And then just as they get older, like Skylar obviously felt hurt that Jamie, like, interestingly, just like grew up. Like she sort of took that personally that he did that. Um, and then she felt like left behind because she was sort of like delayed in that and didn't really have like, I don't know, like the motivation or the drive to grow up. And so I think that's something I always like to take like a lot of my the own truth of my life and like put it into my characters too. Um and so I think I experienced that a lot in high school as well. Just like not really knowing who I was and trying to like fit in, but also like Skylar just has Skylar is Skylar, like she doesn't really change for anyone. There's no point I felt like in the script where she's like necessarily pretending to be anyone else. She just is like doing what feels right for her in the moment. Like even in the spin the bottle scene, like she like Yeah, maybe there was like the group pressure to drink, but like if she really didn't want to, I think she wouldn't have. So I think like her choosing to drink and drink as much as she did, like it was a silly decision, but like I've been there and it's like how I guess I don't know, that's like a learning thing for sure. So I felt like each experience that happened to her was just like a learning lesson for her and like put her one step closer to like finding herself. And I think I just tried to take like each of those moments as that and how I would really react and feel in those situations in her position. If that makes sense.
Okay, so I have to ask you about one of the early scenes, which I don't know if it's like intentionally comic or unintentionally comic, which is when you're having a heart to heart through the windows, but your house is burning down around you. Sorry. Also, you seem quite chilled about it. But Jane was like, "Oh yeah, the house is burning down. Maybe I should leave." How did you film that? Like, how was that done?
So there were two houses. There was Skylar's house, and then they actually rented the house next door. Um, that was really nice. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting us to have to like, use the other side of the house and cheat it and make it look like we're talking, but we actually got to talk across, and I think they cross coverage shot it. Um, and I was actually, sitting out the window, talking to her out the window, and I personally find so many of these vertical moments funny, and the moments I do, I'm always confused sometimes. They're like, "No, this is very serious. This part's very." I'm like, "It's funny. Like this is funny. People are gonna find it funny." Um, I'll try to make it serious, but I just feel like that's when I read it for the first time I laughed, it's like, "Oh, his house is on fire while he's talking," it's like inherently funny. I mean, you can't so I guess maybe I did play into that a little bit, trying to keep it casual and be like, "Oh, wow, I probably should go downstairs," or whatever I did. I don't even remember. But but yeah, I totally think they should make some vertical comedies. Um, I was saying, I'm not gonna, what is that movie? Not Another Teenage Movie. You know that where it's like a teen movie inside a teen movie. I was like, we should do one, Not Another Vertical, and just make all the tropes of verticals even more, and just really play into the comedy of it. Like
Hilarious.
everyone knows who they are and why they are the way they are because it's in the script. Like Tiffany could be like, "I'm the mean girl, so now I'm supposed to talk about how poor you are and all that fun," something like that. Like, I thought that would be fun. But these are super funny. I think all these are funny, and we should do more comedy. I like that.
I think everyone knows I want more comedy desperately. I think we have
And
enough tea and drama.
I think
I agree.
it's a rom-com. That's another reason I liked it because a lot of it was lighthearted. There was
Yeah.
really, I'm not so much a fan of acting in the scenes that are like supposed to be really serious, and the love is like, really like over the like I like the angst and the like, oh, we're doing this, we're figuring this out. I don't know, what if people find out about us kissing, like for instance, like when Tiffany's taking a picture of us, like as if that's so crazy, you know. So I
Well,
like
you
those
were cheating
more.
on me, so that's why that was crazy.
I forgot.
I think Chris really would have loved to play a Tiffany character. Like
Yeah,
in
He
Crash
wants to
I would
Out.
step
be
into
down
his
to play a
diva moment.
villain. I mean, that would be fun. I
One
want
that
to be
has
like
like
a
a crash out
mafia.
like that. I feel like you would go so hard with it. You would
I
be
honestly respect what Vanessa does so much because I don't think I could hold that much energy. It's
my
just, I
God.
mean, it's like we're shooting something at 7 a.m., 12-hour day the night before, and she's already like ready to crank into it. Like, I don't know if I could, you know,
That's so
have that
sweet.
much energy.
For
You bring
sure.
it all the
I
time.
need, I need to drink more Celsius.
Oh.
Uh, that would
So
maybe get me going.
I also
Now,
don't I want to add one more thing to the fire scene.
yeah.
So if you're curious of how the fire was created, it was literally just like lights that were shining on the outside of the house and they would switch from like orange to yellow and to reddish, like to like depict that. And then in post they added like all the other stuff. If you can't tell, it's probably yeah.
It's
But
very good. It's pretty good for vertical. You get the effect.
yeah.
So obviously it's very convenient that the house burns down because then it means that we stick the old force proximity in.
Of
I really
course.
want to ask about Skylar's bedroom.
Yeah. I was
The
just thinking
decoration
about
looked really cute. Just like
yeah. I was just thinking about that actually. I was like, because I was thinking about how I remember them like being in Skylar's bedroom and watching them set up Jamie's bedroom across like the way from one window to the other. It's actually so crazy that we use those two windows now that I'm thinking about it. Like it was actually real that we were talking through them. So I loved that. Um, but yeah, I mean, like the production design team, did such a good job. Like I do think Skylar's room was like a little dorky. I love Skylar so much. Like I could only say amazing things about, like say so many amazing things about her, but also like the girl like needed a little bit of like, hey girl, get out of this like childlike thing. Like her little binder that had like unicorns and stuff on it, and like
That's cute.
it was cute, but it was just like the phone background with Jamie on it, like with all of like the rainbow and all that stuff. Like it's just
Still love a girl.
Needed some Shein.
she's so silly. Yeah, exactly. She did need some Shein.
Do not worry, we are coming to the scene.
Exactly.
I
But
want
yeah.
to ask, because
Yeah.
I think it's one of people's favourite scenes, is just Tiffany's like total, I'm just going to barge into this house and hunt around.
Yes.
Which one is a lesson why you should always lock your front door, because otherwise Tiffany might come in.
Exactly.
How was it seen? Because obviously it's hilarious, and then I don't know what's going on with that shower curtain. Like, why is that shower curtain so pink? Because it makes it funnier when you're hiding in the bath, Chris, that this shower curtain is all pink and frills. I don't know why, it just makes it much more funny than if it was just a sensible shower curtain. Can you just talk through that entire scene? Because it's hilarious.
Who?
Whoever wants to go.
Yeah. I think Vanessa, you like had control of that scene. So I feel
No,
like
I mean, yeah, she's just like, I'm doing whatever I want. That's Tiffany for you, and she will do whatever she wants. And she was on the hunt for Jamie, and yeah, that was a fun one. Again, that was kind of the director mentioned how they wanted it to be like that scene in Euphoria between Cassie and Maddie. So banging on the door a lot, and I was banging on that door so hard. The director and the script, they had to be like, okay, it's enough, like please, like you can calm down, we don't need you to yell in every single shot, it's not even your turn right now. But yeah, it was a super fun one. And yeah, tell us
I think
about the curtains.
that might have been our first scene that we filmed together.
That was our
Yeah.
first day too.
Because I remember that video of you where you're in the garage,
The
and
TikTok one, yeah.
and like you're doing a fit check, and then I walk out, and like that was how we met, and I do like the little Skylar wave, like
So
the little
cute.
down here like shy thing. Yeah, because I think I was in that same outfit, and I just remember like, yeah, I just remember how much fun that was. And then when you walk into the room and you're like, ew. That's like one of my favorites. You're so funny. And I was like, I kind of get it. Like, and then I really thought that my big, like when you leave after the whole bathroom scene happens, and I'm like, and you're like, your room smells like dork. And I'm like, don't barge into other people's houses.
That was hilarious.
I like really wanted that to be like her trying to be like feisty, but then it just sounds so like so young. But yeah, on the other side of the door, I mean, that scene was filmed in very like tight, close proximity in that bathroom. I remember it was like impossible to get around anywhere when we were in there, and there was like 6 people maybe in there, like filming from like all different angles and everything. And yeah, I just the mimic to Euphoria is so good. I'm so glad that so many people caught that too, because it's such a
Some people comment on that scene, and they were like, "This is the Walmart version of Euphoria," and I was like, "Okay, Walmart's awesome."
Walmart is sick. Just saying.
Walmart's sick.
Yeah,
Okay. That's a little
Well,
harsh, though. Yeah. I mean, it's
a little
like,
bit.
no, that's great.
It's the good with the bad, you know, as much you know, we definitely got more positive, I would say, but I mean, there's some negative things too. I mean,
Yeah.
it comes with
I
it.
mean, I think the edit of outside of the door, Tiffany knocking, to like that shot where it like glides across the door as if it was like an open
Beautiful.
wall is so pretty. Like I think they did such a good job with that. And there wasn't an open wall. Like that is genuinely the editing and the way that they filmed it to make that shot possible. I think there's a lot of great in that scene, and I think it's an iconic paywall, if you will.
The good paywall, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I have to ask, because it was mentioned, obviously one of the highlights of that is Tiffany going, "Oh, Shein, good choice." Like,
Yes.
obviously
Let's talk about it.
this was made in the period where there was obviously an experimentation with a bit of sponsorship in verticals. I think compared to some of the other ones, you guys get away lightly, because some of the other ones, it's more like we're really cutting away, and now we're setting up home with our Shein supplies and then back to the story. So I think you kind of get, and you don't have to sell a robot Hoover, so you're doing better.
Yeah, it was super slick, I think. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was like, "Oh, that's an ad," you know.
Oh, for sure not.
Yeah, you're right. No one thought that.
Not with the
Everyone was
Shein
like,
store.
no, this is not
None of it.
It was seamless.
Yeah, that is so interesting. So you're saying, Jen, that there's other verticals where you can tell way more that it's sponsored?
I
There's
haven't
another
seen
one,
that.
the Shein
I
one.
can't imagine that. I feel like we
And
have
the-
like the peak of that. It was like
Yeah.
every
Commercial break is what she's saying. Like it breaks and like here's Shein, right? Is that what they would do? Like a break?
Yeah,
Or
well,
a
it was
commercial?
really difficult. It was a much more emotionally intense one. So they did it as flashbacks of them setting up home together when everything was happy and unpacking their Shein delivery. Which
My
is really,
God.
like,
Oh,
and then there's another one, and I mean, all credit to Luke Charles Stafford, where basically he decides that the way to woo the lady in his life is to get her robot Hoover. And he sells it. He's clearly is just like, I have to go with this. And it's like, the robot Hoover is amazing. Don't you feel better now I've bought you a robot Hoover? So yeah, you
Beautiful.
guys kind of got off lightly, just so you know.
yeah.
Glad
Wow,
to
that's
hear it.
crazy. 'Cause I've heard so many people
Yeah.
talk about it. I think someone made like people, make these beautiful drawings and fan art and stuff of quarterback. And one of them was like a montage of all of the things, like a bunch of elements that like exemplified quarterback next door. And they put a Shein package. And I was like, come on. I was like, Shein even made it into the fan art. I was like, dang, it really has had an impact. But I don't know if you're about to ask more about it, but there's one scene. Yeah. Sorry, you go, Jen.
Ask you about the outfits, you see, off the back of that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to start with you, Vanessa. Well, first of all, the bows. What was the decision that Tiffany, one, she has a hair bow, but actually when I started looking, a lot of your outfits have
You have
little
bows
bows, and you
everywhere.
sort of gave me nightmares about bows. And then, like, did you have a favourite outfit? Because, I mean, she has some great stuff that she gets to wear, including the kind of the mad dress with train at the end.
Yes. Molly was the wardrobe on that, and she had incredible taste. She just had so many little pieces that were so intentional for the character, and I feel like the bows were a contrast to her aggression and just like she wants to appear very, oh my God, I'm so sweet, I'm such a nice girl, but like she will fucking, sorry, excuse my language, she will come for Skylar like fully and get her man and tear her apart every way she can. So I definitely think it plays into the contrast of that, which I think Mally did a great job on. And sorry for any nightmares. Please don't hold a grudge against bows.
I just look at bows now and have a slight twitch.
No. We have to redeem
Cayla, I
it.
have to ask you about yours. Now, I don't know if this is just because I'm old and I don't have taste, but there's a really a really famous thing in Pretty in Pink, that she's supposedly got this amazing dress and the dress is horrific.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the blue dress.
Yeah, that's super fair. I mean, it was very Cinderella, I will say. And it was giving like prom for sure. I mean, I think like, yeah, that was just like the overall consensus for everyone was just that I like looked like Cinderella. And yeah, I mean, I
They had
think
different options for you too. Weren't you almost going to wear pink or something? Or am I?
I mean, it definitely was not my choice. I think it was definitely, and I don't mean that in a mean way. It just was like, I usually never pick like the outfits that I'm in. Like, sometimes I'll be able to be like, hey, I like this one more than this one. But that one I literally was like, I mean, whatever. Yeah, cool. Like, I'm on set. This is cool. But yeah. And my only thing is it's like, it's so different from what everyone else is wearing also. Like it almost was almost like a quinceañera dress a little bit, like it was like her, like a party for her rather than like this ball for everyone. Yeah, but it was Shein though, which actually was very shocking to me that I didn't know Shein made dresses like that. And the dress was actually like not uncomfortable, and decent quality too, which I think is probably more of the point of it for sure. Yeah.
And then
There's
Chris,
so many. Yeah.
Sorry, and then Chris, I just want to ask you about, obviously, as leading man in a vertical, you can spend a lot of time in suits. Whereas this one, you got to do, kind of a jacket. I think you're in jeans quite a lot. Was it quite nice to actually wear comfy clothes?
Yeah, like was wearing sweatpants at Skylar's house, wearing just a jacket, and yeah, so much better. And the wardrobe was so professional because I've had some times with other companies and stuff where it is suits and it's like a 3-piece suit and you put it on and they're like, oh no, wait, sorry, you got to switch back into the other suit, and you're like, okay, we messed it up, and then like, never mind, it was that one, and you go back and you're like, oh my gosh, but like, everyone was like on point, and it was just throw a jacket on. It was super nice. And my favorite thing regarding Shein was the scene where I'm taking Skylar to my part of town or whatever. I think I said I was like, let me show you my lifestyle or how I live life or whatever. And I take her to the Shein store, which we actually shot in a church.
The
Interestingly,
Shein pop-up.
Oh yeah.
Let's be
and
specific.
they decorated the whole like part of this church, and they made it look like a Shein store. And my line, she was like, I don't know if this will suit me or whatever. And my line was, Skylar, Shein literally looks good on everybody. And the first time we said it, I laughed. I was like, it looks good on everybody. Because like, it was just, and that's the one they used, which is pretty funny. If you watch it back, you can see I kind of laughed and like, but yeah.
One of the things that's quite impressive is they do give all the football team the letter jackets. Did anyone get to keep one?
No, they probably reused them, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
They changed the name or changed the colors or for other. That would have been cool. I would have hung it up on my wall.
Oh my God, that jacket was amazing.
remembering.
I would have worn it every day.
We were wearing them on set when we were like cold and stuff. Do you remember? Yeah, because it was winter. We shot that in December.
It was
so
cold.
It
Wow,
was like
yeah.
rainy.
Oh, October.
Oh gosh, I don't even know
That's
anymore.
almost been a year. That's pretty crazy.
I know.
God, you guys,
Where's number 2, right? We're gone.
we need
So
it.
I'm gonna get there. Don't worry, I want it. So my next question is for all of you. Chris, you sort of slightly answered it already. What is, I guess, what was a favourite scene? And then I guess possibly if it's another answer, what was the one that you felt was kind of most truthful and you really kind of were like, I guess with the acting where you like, we went somewhere that was truthful there?
I think the most truthful scene is when he was talking about like his disappointments with his dad not being around and not showing up. Um, and not to talk about if there was a second one, but I thought it'd be really interesting if we did see a little bit of the dad trying to come into the picture, if they're off at college and stuff, and kind of how he's navigating that. And I thought that would be good. That felt like a truthful scene. The dialogue felt, real, and like he was just frustrated with him not, making the time. And like there was a moment where he's supposed to be with Skylar, but he's on the phone with the dad. Or wait, was that the coach? Honestly, I can't remember.
Chris.
He was on the phone with somebody,
With
and
the
he
dad.
was.
Sorry, with the
Which
dad.
scene are
Yeah.
you talking about? On the staircase or the one at the
It
church?
was it was twice. One was the coach, and then on the staircase, he's like, "Oh, you're not going to show up. Oh, big surprise. Okay, great, whatever," and he hangs up. That scene felt truthful to me. And then my favorite scene, honestly, my favorite scene was it was a lunch scene. I don't even think I had any dialogue, and we were cutting back to Evan, Elijah, a guy played Elijah, and he was in the back, and I was supposed to be kind of jealous of him, and he was great. He was so fun and such a cool guy to work with. And I'm supposed to be jealous of him. I forget, like I look back and like someone was saying how great he was, or Addie, right? Addie was saying to Skylar, like, "Oh yeah, have you talked to Evan, or Elijah Wood? Oh, you should." And then I looked back, and for one of the scenes, he was juggling just for fun, and I ad libbed. I wish they had kept it, and I was like, juggle. Like, so, I don't know. I thought that was just funny. He was like juggling apples with two girls where he was sitting at the lunch table. I was like, and he could juggle. No, I don't know. That was fun. What can't this guy do?
That was a good one. I agree.
Also, to say, Chris, you do a really good, like, I don't know how you pronounce it, glower. You are one of the best. Like a
Oh,
glow.
like give someone like a bad look.
Oh, yeah, but obviously
Like
as a
when you
hero.
glare, like when
Glare, yeah, jealous glare.
you do it very well, just to say.
Thank
Like,
you.
top notch.
Appreciate it.
Right, Vanessa,
Well,
do you want to go next? I'll put you on.
yes. Okay, wait, remind me the two questions. Sorry, I was
Kind of a favourite scene, and if you wanted to do another one, the one that you felt was most truthful.
scene. Oh, it's so hard because all of them were so much fun to film, honestly. Like, there was not one scene where I was like, this is all of them. But probably the last one where I get thrown into the popcorn bowl. That was fun. It was fun to rehearse. And I but at the end of the day, I literally had popcorn like in my bra and in my hair, like when I went home. It was crazy. So that one was super fun and just got to be explosive. That was her breaking point. And I just had a lot of fun yelling with that. As for like the most truthful scene, I feel like that one is pretty in line with that also because it was a huge ego hit to her. And yeah, that again, that's where like the ball drops and she's like, ugh, it all breaks and comes crashing down. So that one felt very truthful as well.
Yeah, I really love that crash out scene. I just remember Chris and I like being on the stage, um, watching you do that, and like I just remember us looking at each other and being like, "She's amazing."
Oh my
Like we
gosh.
were like so in awe of you in that moment. We were like, "She's so like good at just letting go and like letting loose." It was so yeah. I vividly remember that moment for sure.
Thank you.
I mean it, girl. Um, yeah, I definitely agree though. There were so many amazing scenes. I really did. The one that was the most fun, and it probably was only fun for me because like I was just laughing so much. Was there's a scene when Macy invites me to the pool party, um, which I will never get over that Addie was right there and she didn't get invited because like I feel like Macy totally would have invited her too, and we kept being like, I feel like Addie should be here, right? Like why wouldn't she come with me to this party? Um, but uh, after Macy leaves and Addie says yes for Skylar, Addie comes around and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? And we like could not like get that out without dying laughing to the point where we did it like 10 times and just kept laughing. And it was actually a moment like I don't remember the crew actually being upset about it. And sometimes they'd probably be like, come on, you guys. But that time, like I feel like everyone was laughing at it, which I feel like just made it more fun too. Because that can be stressful too when you just like can't get a scene out because you're like, oh, like so much stuff is going on. You're like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. But that was like a moment that I think really established my friendship in real life too with Natty. So I am very grateful for that scene. That was super duper fun. Um, and then the one that felt the most truthful, and it's probably because I was actually crying during it for real, because it was the very last scene that we shot, um, was we did a pickup of the very first scene um, when we meet Tiffany and when Jamie comes in and saves Skylar and they pick me up and put me onto the bench and then Tiffany kisses Jamie and I look up and my eyes are like so red and like I was like I just like look distraught and it's because I actually was because that was our very last scene and it was very truthful because I just could not stop crying. I was so sad that the project was ending. Um
It's so
yeah,
sweet.
yeah, it was just like it was a dream come true of a set. So I think that one was probably the most truthful because it was real 100%. like every tier.
Okay,
Cool,
so you finish filming, move on with your lives.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback Next Door comes out, and then people love it, like really love it. When did you first get a sense of like people really like this, and what were the sort of messages all of you are getting? And Vanessa, I'm slightly worried for you. What messages you were getting from fans?
Yeah, I received a lot of like loving messages. I nobody actually said anything bad, which I was surprised because she was so mean. But I did get a lot of like, I love to hate you in that, and people saying like, I really hated you in that, which to me is a compliment because that means I played it well. That was the goal for the audience for sure, and I I definitely realized it was picking up a lot when I posted that TikTok video with Cayla, and it was just comment after comment saying how people connected with the story and how much they loved it and how they loved our acting and appreciated it, and that was like so surreal because you do it for fun and you're so in the moment when you're doing it. You don't think about the people that are going to see it afterwards. I mean, you do, but it's like it's hard to grasp, mentally. So that was just so unreal. It's an unreal feeling all around.
And I really think that Vanessa was like, people love to hate her so much that, in my opinion, I don't know what they're gonna do with the second one. I'm, like I said, fingers crossed. But there's that element in Verticals of suspending disbelief. So I don't see why we can't have Vanessa be the mean girl at college, but make her blonde. Or like, we need her again. I don't see how she would somehow go to the same school, but like, just cast her again as the mean girl, but she's different. Her name's like Vanessa this time and not Tiffany or whatever. You know. Um yeah.
Tiffany has to come back. Like she needs to. Or the new musical.
Well, you can be a long lost twin. I mean, that's very vertical. You can just be the
Exactly.
long lost twin who wants vengeance for her
I
wrong
know
twin.
her twin is going
So true. I love that.
Yeah, there you go. I think it's funny.
Yeah, that would be fun.
What was the question? What some of the good things?
When you kind of first realised that it was doing really well and the kind of feedback you get from fans, what do they talk to you
Yeah, I
about?
mean, I was definitely shocked. I'm not gonna lie, there were some moments on set where I was, goofing around maybe and not as focused as I should have been. And someone pulled me to the side and they were like, "Chris, this one's gonna be a popular one. We believe in it. So basically lock in is what they told me. They were like, stop." So I was like, okay, got it. But I never thought it was gonna do as well as it did, and I was just really shocked on Instagram when it came out how many people were following me after, from all over the world too, from India, China, talking to people in Poland, and it's really cool, that amount of people are seeing it and feeling that they liked it enough to want to reach out, and I appreciate the support from everybody.
Means the world, like truly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cayla, for you?
Definitely on the TikTok train as well. Like that was when it really started to set in. Like when I saw your TikTok, and then I had posted one that I filmed on set. Or no, we filmed two on set. We filmed like the cinnamon roll one with
Okay.
all of the girls. And then I did one that was like my transformation, a la Princess Diaries. And then I also had filmed like a silly one at home where I was doing a filter that was like, what movie trope are you? And I got Friends to Lovers on my very first one. And so I was like, this is fate. And then that one like popped off really well too. And so I think that and like all the ads, like I was getting texts from so many people in my life, in my like real life, just being like, I am seeing you all over my Instagram and my TikTok. Like there's so many ads. And then also to once people started reaching out for more projects and kept referencing Quarterback Next Door too. That was like a big moment. Where I was like, wow, this really did have like a big impact. I'm so grateful for it. It's changed my life. I can't believe this. It hasn't even been a year yet. It feels like everything's so crazy now and different.
So
In the
it
best.
is a massive fan favourite. And I think actually the more that comes out, the more you realise just how good it was. And it's like a bit like lightning in a bottle, just like everything came together of the cast and the performances and the script. Now we've done that. That's happened with other verticals. So obviously Falling for a Superstar is a massive fan favourite. And that has just had a sequel filmed. And I think that's off the back of the fact it was such a huge fan favourite. And when I did the Vertical Drama Love Awards for 2024, that won. And I think that helped do it. Quarterback Next Door was also up there. It was in the top 10 of what fans wanted for last year. You've kind of teased it. How do we get a sequel made? Because I think we all agree there's more to tell for all of these characters. We need to know more. Like, in genuine, like, what do the fans need to do to make it happen? Do you have any ideas?
I wish that I could say it was up to the fans. I don't.
It is.
I,
It is. Let them know, you guys. Just
yeah,
let
I mean,
Real Short know. That's
true,
what we need to
true,
do.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, but the fans have been, yeah, I've posted stuff on TikTok, like, it's a picture of me and Cayla, like, one of the back, we like both kind of angry and we're just looking. And I was like, my honest reaction if they don't make Quarterback Next Door 2, or whatever, Quarterback on Campus, whatever it'll be. And the people were like, no, you can't tease this. You don't know what you're doing to me. Like, you can't fake this. And me personally, because, Real Short has talked about it. It looks like they're gonna do it. I'm not, I'm like, I shouldn't say that yet again, but like, I don't know the time frame. I don't know how people's schedules will align or what the script's gonna be like, But me personally, we all kind of had like our idea of what we thought would happen in the next movie, and they're gonna take it in the direction that they're gonna take it, and I just hope they actually do that and it happens.
Yeah, I definitely think it is a fan driven thing as well. Like, I think what really prompted them to even start discussing it was that one Instagram post that you made, Chris, where you just posted the picture of us and you were like, who wants Quarterback Next Door 2? And it got like 500 comments or something like that. And I think that was like a big wake up thing for them. Yeah, I mean, I think we all want it. That's clear. There's been rumors circulating that something could be happening with it. Yeah. But I think especially Chris and I, just because we've talked the most about like how we were when we actually met up again on our second set that we did together, Don't Miss Me When I'm Gone, like we both found out that we both were writing like a second one already separately. Like we both had a bunch of ideas for it. So we like sat down a couple times and like just talked through our ideas and like what we wanted. My thing is I am very, which is something like Chris honestly was like, you gotta like just let some of the vertical tropes in, because I just don't want to. Like I have like such huge visions for how I want Quarterback Next Door 2 to be, like in terms of like exploration of like, I'll say it, Skylar's sexuality. Like I want there to be like stuff like that and like really like heartfelt stuff. And like Chris talked about like Jamie's relationship with his dad, like Vanessa's reentrance, like there's just so many things that I want to happen just like in the way that it would in a typical feature film. And I think it's like finding like a good medium between that and having like some vertical tropes in it. I don't know how much say we're going to have in the actual script, but I think we can all probably agree that there's certain things that for me, I would need to be in it and I would need to be a part of things that would need to be in it and things that would need to not be in it for me to do it, if I'm honest.
It would be nice to have that much say, but truth be told, I don't know how. I think it's, they're gonna play into the thing that works last time, but I just think it's great that we all have so many thoughts of what could happen, and I feel like that's how we did have some magic in the bottle. So because it's like, oh, this story had legs, there was room for it to make a second one, make a third, go to the NFL. I don't know, why
The
not?
Super Bowl.
The
It's like
quarterback's
some of
on the
these
NFL.
hard ending. It's like, well, that is the beginning, middle, and end. But here, it's like, there was enough character development, enough like unanswered questions, like regarding like the dad and the mom and what's gonna happen at school, and is Vanessa gonna get her revenge? There's just so much room to write a second one, and I think that's why they are considering it, because there's legs to do so.
Okay, so I think that's a bit of call to action to fans to kind of press home the point that we would like that. Obviously, Quarterback Next Door is one of the best sort of YA college/high school genre verticals. I just wondered, individually, what's your favourite that you've watched? High school, college story, film or TV show? Everyone wants to just share their favourite.
I like the TV show Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, so good.
Yes, that was the
Oh,
best.
oh my
My mom put me onto that show, and that was, remember the scene with James Franco when he's lying and he goes, track 1, track 2, track 3. What do you think I got? The whole party's like, because
Mm.
he was stupid, and he made that whole thing. That was like my first monologue that I ever did when I was in like ninth grade, and that's how I got an agent at the time. And my mom liked that show so much that when it got canceled, she wrote in and said, "Please don't cancel the show. Please don't cancel the show." And they gave her tickets to go see 2 unreleased episodes. And so she brought my dad on like one of their first dates back in the day. So that
That's so
show is one of the
cute.
best. So many great people came out of that show: Jason Segel, Seth Rogen, James Franco. And I think that we need to make a vertical like that with those types of groups. That would
So
be
ahead,
interesting.
that one's so ahead of its time. That was
I need to
such
It really
watch
was.
this. I haven't
the
Shouldn't
seen
world.
have
this.
Oh,
canceled it.
it's amazing. But there's only
Shouldn't have
one
canceled it.
season. It came out in like the late 90s,
I thought
and there's only
2.
one
Was it only
season of it.
one? Is it really
No,
only
there's only
one? Wow.
one. Yeah, it
Oh,
was so good.
criminal.
But yeah, like
Criminal.
Jason Segel, Seth Rogen, James Franco, like so many amazing actors in that one. It's such Freaks and Geeks is great. I really love I grew up on High School Musical. That's a really big one for me. I'm a huge High School Musical girl. Go to karaoke, go to like nostalgia movie. I had High School Musical birthdays and like watch parties for the second one. Yeah, it was a huge part of my life. So that's one for sure. But then going a little more classic, The Breakfast Club is a really big one for me too. I love The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, for me, I think, oh my God, I grew up on so much Disney Channel that this stuff is like in my blood. I Disney Channel original movies, like those did it for me. Like the Cheetah Girls, what else? Just all of those, just like those girly fun ones, and Mean Girls too. Love it. So good.
Thank you so much for all of you. Everything about Quarterback Next Door. I just want to ask you quickly before we finish, it's up to you what you want to share. Either a favourite other project that you'd love more people to watch, or something upcoming that you're really excited about that you'd like to share.
I'd love for you guys to check out one of my first weeds that I've just done. It's on Pocket FM. It's called The Royal Accident, and it just came out. It's a really fun one. Brings in all the vertical tropes that you know and love. So your support would mean the world to me if you guys could check that out. And I'd love your review on it, Jen, if you have time. I know you're a very busy woman. But
I was going to say, Vanessa, if you didn't bring up your first lead, I was literally thinking about this earlier. I was like, I would bring it up for you.
oh, you're so sweet.
Because it's so amazing.
You're so sweet.
Yeah, I have a couple that I filmed this summer that I'm super excited to come out. Actually, 2 of them are for Viglu, and they're very just like summer. Well, one is okay. It's so hard. Ugh, I talk so much, and I have so many things I could talk about every single one. But yeah, the Viglu one, I filmed it in Vietnam. Frick, I know I posted this. It's called Spring Break Bucket List, and it's almost like a Romeo and Juliet, like go on spring break sort of story. And it's very fun. So love that one. Check it out on Vigloo. I just filmed one that's called I Slept with My Dad's Best Friend. And that one, you know, like the age gap isn't my favorite, but the director for that one was very like on top of making sure that consent and like female gaze was like the focus of it. And so I think it's going to be a very different age gap romance when it comes out. Both of those are on Vigloo. So I definitely would say those two. Just keep an eye out on Vigloo for me.
Yes, girl.
Just to say that's a total coincidence that Cayla's got projects at Vigloo, even though this whole event's sponsored
It really,
by Vigloo.
yeah.
It's just the way the world works.
I know. I love Vigloo. Love you, Vigloo.
Okay. I have I'm shooting 2 in September that I'm excited about, but they mentioned not to divulge what they're about yet. Obviously, I don't want to spoil, but those should be cool. And I just did a role recently on Real Short with more of a sci-fi element to it, which is really cool. And I'm super interested to see how they're going to, um, use CGI in it, and it's definitely a different one that I've ever done. But it is a high school environment, but there's like CGI sci-fi stuff. So
That's
stay
sick.
tuned.
That sounds really cool, actually. I like that. Okay, final thing is just like a final message to everyone who's been watching this panel. Just sort of whatever you want to say to the fans and sort of being in the vertical space.
Thank you endlessly for your support and the love you guys share and all the creative posts you make and for being a part of this community. And it truly means the world. Every time I think about it, I just want to like burst into tears because we love doing this, and the fact that you guys resonate with these stories and our performances, it could not, it feels surreal. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and we love you guys so much.
Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in and watching these, and especially your support for a second one. It's in your hands, like Vanessa was saying. If this is gonna happen, we just gotta. You don't ask, you don't get. That's what my grandpa would tell me. And yeah, it's really motivational to see you guys reaching out and stuff, and saying that you appreciate the work that we've been doing. Because now when I go on set, I know you guys will be seeing it, and so I want to make sure I do a good job and you guys enjoy it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I echo both of their statements, and then I also just want to say too that like thank you to Real Short and to everyone who works on Quarterback Next Door. That project changed my life, like literally completely. I just cannot believe that this is what I'm doing with my life, that I'm acting full time, and it's all because of like the work that everyone put into the project, and then the fans like for watching it and loving it and making that known and feeling so passionately about all of the characters. Like we had such a great time filming it, and I think that shows. And it's really great that people have such a good time watching it and even go back to rewatch it. Like the fact that that's a comfort vertical for people that they like willingly go back to in their free time is so to me. Like it's very wild. And so I'm very grateful for that.